Hello and welcome to my channel. If this is your first time here, my name is Millie and I love any makeup, especially shiny, shifty, and sparkly eyeshadows. And today I'm finally going to be talking about the Multichromes from Glam Shop. These have come out quite some time ago, at least a couple of months. They originally had some more pastel shades and then they came out with some more amped up shades. And I believe that these over here are being discontinued. Don't quote me on that, but they were deeply discounted for a long time now. And it looks like there's only a couple of shades left on their website, so I'm assuming that they're discontinuing them, and I'm not really surprised because they're really not that shiny. They really don't look like their swatches online, but I did end up grabbing them because they were just so discounted and I was just really curious about them, and I was like, maybe I can find a different way to use them. Also, when you make a Glam Shop order and you're in the US, you really want to make it worth it because their shipping has gone up more and more and more, especially since they got rid of the Polish postal service option, because that is the option which was the cheapest option but also could have taken the longest time. But I used it like 2 or 3 times before they got rid of it and I never had an issue and my stuff came really quickly, but I guess they were having a lot of lost packages, so they ended up taking that off the website. So if you're gonna make a Glam Shop order, you really gotta make it worth it because the shipping is going to be at least $20-25. So the moment I saw that they were coming out with these super shiny, multi-chromey, delicious kind of eyeshadows, I was ready to make an order. I was ready to pay the price of shipping, and I do have a couple of videos up with Glam Shop eyeshadows. I tested out their hollow eyeshadows, their other turbo glow eyeshadows, as well as their matte eyeshadows, etc. In case you're interested, I will put it down in the description box. But look at just how shiny these are. Now these are a little bit more on the translucent side. You can build them up, but they do have, like, they don't really have a colorful base. There are 2 shadows that are still like shifty. I wouldn't necessarily call them multichromes, but they're these right here. So these don't have the same texture as these. They're a little bit on the smoother side and they do have just a little bit more pigment to them, and you will see that in the swatches. And of course I'll be showing you some swatch comparisons, especially for anybody who is US based and you're curious about these. Definitely would say that you're probably all set with US indie brands. There is at least a couple of indie brands from the US that have come out with very similar shades, and you will see that in the swatch comparisons. And of course, if you're a European based and you want to get your hands on some of these beautiful kinds of shadows that you see everyone using from the US indie brands, then this is going to be your chance. So I did, for the most part, only use, I try to focus on the shiny shades, not so much the possibly discontinued shades. I did use them for the inner corner highlight, and I did not do any swatch comparisons for these because I really don't think I have anything like these. They're almost like an iridescent multichrome, but not really. They have a little bit of a pastel tone to them. Some of them are just really hard to swatch without giving you a full review right in the beginning of the video and giving everything away. But I don't think I have anything like that from other brands. I might have like similar loose pigments, but the loose pigments would be a totally whole nother thing because loose pigment has a totally different kind of effect than these would have, these pressed shadows. So let's get right into it. I will show you the swatches, the swatch comparisons, as well as 4 looks with these multichrome shadows from Glam Shop. And if you're interested about this look, then definitely stay tuned. Video will be up in the next day or so.
Watching you undress, can't take my eyes off you.
priming with the MAC Paint Pot in the shade Soft Ochre. I'm going to be dipping into the Odin's Eye Freya Saga palette. I really need to try these more. And I'm going to go in with Defend right into the crease. This one seems like it is like a satin matte, so it has a little bit of a sheen to it. Maybe I'm just imagining it. And then outer corner, I'm taking Strength. And just slowly blending it outwards. I'm going to be doing pretty simple looks, since I really just want to feature the multichromes. Versus when I'm trying out like an eyeshadow palette, I think that I try to get a little bit more creative. Taking some translucent powder and just taking it on the edges of this. Putting down a little bit of NYX glitter primer, and I am going to essentially do a faux half cut crease situation. So I am kind of cutting it a little bit high. Taking the shade Flora, and that's going to first go right along my lash line. Oh, that is really beautiful. This reminds me of Verte and Big Bang from Clionadh and Terra. It's got a little bit of fallout, but that is so beautiful. It's just super vibrant. And then above that, I'm going to go in with Venomous, which this one is more textured. So I'm actually curious to see how this brush... Oh, that's so shiny. That is so beautiful. That is so stunning. I feel like this could end up being a little too chunky if you went in with too much. So that's why I'm kind of trying to go in just piece by piece. Oh, that is so beautiful. Highlighting the inner corner with Mix. And it's not really much of a highlight shade. It's almost like a satin kind of shimmer. I'm just gonna kind of blend it down here as well. Oh, that is pretty, but it's not really shiny. Here's the first finished look. The second look, I'm going to be using the Unearthly Cosmetics Sleepover palette. Going in with Beloved right into the crease. I'd actually do a little bit of a halo eye this time. I'm taking a little bit of Sweetheart on the outer corner and on the inner lid. I'm just kind of tapping it on first, and then I'm going to start blending out the edges. Just wiped off my brush and just blending that out. I feel like it's just a little patchy, maybe just a little bit. Going back in with Beloved, I'm just going to use that to blend it out basically. Just going back in with a little bit more Sweetheart here and here to here. Then taking a clean brush, just going over the edges. Then taking Sweetheart under my lower lash line, on the outer corner and on the inner corner. Putting down some NYX glitter primer just all over the lid right here. Tapping it on. I'm going to go in with Virtual Pink. I mean, look at that. That looks so shiny. And this brush is actually from Glam Shop. It is the 0100 brush. And it picked it up really well. Wow. It looks really blue. And I'm going to take it up a little bit higher. It is pretty translucent, so I do think that it looks different as it's layering over the darker mattes than like when it's layering over the skin. And then for the inner corner, I'm going in with Pink Manga. Ooh, that looks really fun. Oh, that is layering so interestingly. And then I am actually going to take some of the Virtual Pink like right underneath in the center of my lash line, which might be a little fun because I don't have any glitter glue down there. Oh no, that's going on nicely actually. It's probably gonna have a bit of fault. This is such a beautiful shade. Oh my god, it's so shiny. It's so shiny. It's tripping out the camera. Like, the camera can't handle it. Wow. Wow. Here's a second finished look. Priming with the Gimme Glow primer. Dipping into the blends palette, going in with Barley. I'm going to be creating a monochromatic orange look with some of the orangey shimmers. I'm going to use two of the different textured kind of multi-chromes that they have to see like kind of how they look in contrast to each other on the lid. I thought that might be helpful. And also because I'm just also curious. So that's just going right in my crease. I'm going to take Enigma on the outer corner. I am going to layer Depth on top of it because I do want it to be a little bit deeper than this, just for that contrast. I'm going to take a little bit of Secrets, just on the edge here. And then dipping into Depth, and I'm just putting a little bit right in here. I don't really want to extend it too far, just a tiny bit here. Taking Depth underneath my lower lash line, and taking Barley right into that, the edge of that. Going in with the Fahrenheit Pixie Epoxy, and I'm going to do a fall half cut crease. Picked up the shade Catchy, and you can see this one picks up pretty chunky, so I'm going to put that right on the lid, like kind of near my lash line. Definitely a little bit translucent, but seems to have that opaqueness if you do layer it, but I don't want to go in with too much. I do have some fallout, and then I'm going to take the smoother shade called Goldsmith. So we'll see how this picks up much smoother. And that's going to go right above it. Oh, that is super, super yellow gold. Really, really beautiful. Wait, I love that a lot. That just really packed a punch, huh? Ooh, okay, so I'm going to go in with my finger and just like a little bit of the other shade that I used. And I'm just going to tap that all over the lid to help blend it even further into the other shade. And then going in with Disobedience on the inner corner as a highlight. This one is super powdery. It actually has a lot more pigment than I thought to it, and I just got that all into my contact lens. So you can kind of see that actually has some yellow base pigment. Here's the finished look I put on the new Blend Bunny lashes, and these are the Virtues, and these are the style Saint. I did have to cut off about 3, I think, pieces off the end, and I did get a little bit of lash glue here, so they're not supposed to clump this much at the end, unfortunately. I'm gonna have to clean that off. But these are super, super wispy. I think these are probably going to be my favorite style. Priming with the Gimme Glow primer. Taking Dream from the Blends palette right into the inner half of my crease and slowly blending it upwards. And I'm just gonna blend it out here just a little bit. Just a tiny bit. I think that's about as much as I really want to go. Taking Vamp on the outer corner. Just kind of first placing it down. And then I'm going to start blending it out with Promise. Kind of in a triangular shape out here, like I usually do. And just, I don't really want to blend it too much in here, but just a little bit of crossover is fine. Come back in with Vamp just a little bit more. Literally the tiniest amount just to blend this out here. And just really blend it outwards. Blend, blend, blend. Taking Vamp underneath my lower lash line, just right here. I'm going to take it about a third way just to connect with my outer corner. And then taking Dream underneath the rest of my lower lash line, just reflecting what I did on my lid. Going in with the Fair Name Pixie Epoxy and creating a fake half cut crease. Taking the shade Indie, which is a chunkier shade, and it's going to go layer basically down against my lash line, especially where I put down the pink out here. This shade is a bit more on the translucent side, but you can see it does layer nicely, so you can kind of see the pink through here. And then above that, going in with Even Better. Ooh, I love this kind of shade. This reminds me of, I believe it is the Cosmos. Just taking that and really just smoothing it out. You can see if I really rub it, it does smooth out, so it doesn't look like chunky. Going back in with Vamp on the outside, just a little bit. Just to make sure that's smoothed out. Taking Candy Glass as the inner corner highlight. This is a little bit less translucent than I thought it was going to be, just like the other shade on the other eye. But it's pretty nice. I think as an inner corner highlight, I could see this being really fun to layer. I think I brought that out too much. Over like pastels. And here's the fourth look I put on the Saint Lashes from Blend Bunny Cosmetics. So I'm just briefly going to talk about these kind of meh shades that are most likely getting discontinued. I would say if any of those swatches like sparked your interest and you see that they're still available on their website and they're discounted, maybe go for it. But I wouldn't really like break your back to try to get these. Some of them are really hard to swatch. They have a little bit of a sheen and they have potential, but they're just not quite there yet. And I'm not saying that they need to be the same level of like chunky sparkle as these right here, but I just feel like they're really not even satin. I don't even know really how to explain them. They're just not the greatest. I could see these appeal to anyone who really just wants something very subtle and just throw it over like a pastel matte eyeshadow or something, and you just want like a little bit of an oomph there without, you know, going to this extreme over here. There are a couple of shades, in particular this shade, and this shade, which I don't remember the names, but they are a little bit like, they're really smooth and really shiny. They're not chunky and really beautiful. So I wonder if those are like kind of the same kind of formula. It seems like they might not be. It might also be just the pigment, but I do kind of like those. I would probably not use them all over the lid. It's just not really my style. This type of formula over here is definitely more my speed. However, they are a little bit on the chunky side, so you do have to be kind of careful and make sure you don't like pick up a ton and go in with a ton, because you will experience some skin texture accentuation if you do that. I think if you want to use a glitter primer, that's totally up to you. I didn't really feel like it was really necessary. I think they applied really nicely with a finger, especially they were a little bit harder to pick up with a toothier shader brush, but nothing that is not workable. So I really like these. I think they're so beautiful, so shiny, and they can be really smooth down, and you could see that in the tutorials. I definitely would recommend getting these if you are European based and you want some of the taste of the really beautiful, shiny, shifty, somewhat like translucent kind of eyeshadows. It's a great option if you don't want the wait times as well as the high cost of shipping from the US. Now, if you're US based, I would say that you can easily get most of these shades, as you can see in the swatch comparisons, from some of the other indie brands, even Glaminatrix Cosmetics, which they do have a higher shipping costs to the US as well, but I think you're kind of covered with these other brands. So again, I don't feel like you need to go run out and buy these. If you happen to like want to make a Glam Shop order and you're in the US and you really like these shades, then totally go for it. But I really did the swatch comparisons so that you wouldn't feel like you're missing out. There is one shade, however, called a Virtual Pink, which I don't have a dupe for, which is amazing. It is so beautiful. I did use that one in a look, and it is just such a stunning shade. It really looks super interesting when you're looking at it like in the pan, and it looks even more beautiful and luscious on the lid. So if you're gonna make a Glam Shop order, definitely throw that one in there. Oh my gosh, I just remembered there is one shade that I wasn't able to pick up at the time that I purchased these, and I wasn't going to I didn't want to wait, and I also wasn't planning on making another order anytime soon. So there's one shade that I don't have, unfortunately. So I think those are all my thoughts on these. Let me know in the comments below if you picked any of these up and what you think of them. I would love to hear your thoughts. And if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. If you're new to my channel, I will love it if you subscribe. There's so much shiny, sparkly, shifty eyeshadow content uploading my channel and in my much more to come. You do not want to miss out. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you next time.